So hello everybody. I will share my screen shortly. Let me know if you can see it. Irene, you see the screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, that's good. So today I want to review one of the real estate agreements with you. We're going to focus on exclusive property management agreement. Because this is used mostly for when you manage properties, and it's very important to have agreement in place to get compensated right. And even if you do short-term rentals, so you manage the the lease, you can have exclusive right to lease agreement. But if your client asking you to manage the property for them, you need to use this agreement. Okay. Before we begin, do you guys have any questions before we start? Maybe you have something urgent which you want to discuss, or do you want me to proceed directly to the agreement overview?
I'm okay. I don't have many questions.
Okay.
It's okay.
Juan, you fine? Okay, sounds good. So we will go into the dot loop. 1 second, let me open it up. And let's review the agreement. To chat. I can have good. Okay, he doesn't have a microphone. And we will make an agreement on the example of any property, which we can, we'll take one of our listings on MLS, for example, one of the leases. For example, now let's see. For example, this one, listed by Valeria Afanasieva. And so this is the Tides condominium in Hollywood. So let's create an exclusive property management agreement for this property, and we will use it as an example. So in that loop, we'll create a file, a loop. So let's add a loop. Then we'll put property management. Then we'll put the name of the agent. In this case, is Valeria. Then we will put the address. And we'll put the owner name. To find the owner name, we can go to property appraiser. Let's see. We can go to BCPA. Property search. Address 3901. South, we put directions south, street name Ocean Drive, city Hollywood, unit number 16. Oh, no records found. Let's try one more time. 3901 South Street Ocean. Oh yeah, we need to put drive over here. Then we'll put city Hollywood, unit number 16. Search. Again, no. So maybe sometimes sometimes it's not working properly, but then we don't put the unit number and we'll find it manually. So put Hollywood, search, here we go. So we're looking for unit 16, specifically unit 16X. Okay, so unit 16X it will be over here. For somebody who just joined, we doing an overview of exclusive property management agreement, and I'm sharing my screen. We found a property which will be creating an agreement in MLS, and we are working in we're creating a file in Datloop. We're looking for the owner, and unit is PH16X is right here. So this is the owner's name. It's an LLC. So we'll put it here, and then we'll say not a lead. And we'll click continue. Here we'll select blank template. Continue. Then we can upload a picture if we want, or we can take this one. And we can use it in Datloop, but we definitely cannot, for example, if you're creating a new listing, you cannot use somebody else's picture. But in Datloop, it's our proprietary system, internal. You can use the picture just to, when you see the picture, and many people like to visualize it, you will be able to find your files quicker. So then we click finish and click on view loop. So let's say you're doing complete property management. You reviewing, you're helping to lease the property, or you're doing Airbnb, or maybe you overviewing even the repairs of certain items in the unit, and you overseeing the payments, electrical payments, you overseeing the HOA payment. So this is, it's not just the simple lease. You're doing a full property management, and for these services, the owner will need to pay, definitely, because I know some agents, they don't ask for basically payments, or they don't ask for compensation, and this is a lot of work. Even if you have one property under management, it can be a lot of work. So we will go into the templates, and we will find Vera Realty branded forms, and then we'll type property management and find the template. So we found it, exclusive property management agreement. We click check the box, copy, and then it get imported to the system. Usually when you're selling the property for the client, and then you know that they have intention to lease it, this is a good time to present your property management services. We manage properties professionally for our investors, and we can establish all the licenses for Airbnb, for VRBO, for Booking.com, and this is all goes into the property management package, and it depends on the apartment or house of the price. Depends on how large is it, what's involved in the management, because with single family houses, it's more management and you can charge more. On short-term rentals, and their usual regular rates are 20% from the operating income, and on long-term rentals, it's usually 10%. But sometimes if it's I mean, you have room there, you can play with it. Sometimes on short-term rentals, agents charge 15%, but industry average is from 15 to 20% on short-term rentals. So here we'll start filling out the agreement right now. So we have the owner. So we take this owner name, copy and paste over here. And we put broker. So you put your name first. So in this case, it's Valeria. I'll just put my name for now. Then we start reading the agreement. Authority to manage property. Owner gives broker the exclusive right to manage the real and personal property, collectively property, described below, beginning there. So the date, I will put today's date, September 1st. Let's assume that the property was closed on yesterday and we're creating this agreement on August 31st. September, so 1st of September 2020, and ends on, I mean, depends. If you do 1 year, if the client wants to lease it for long term, you can create the agreement for 2-3 years. It's very depends on situation. If you're doing Airbnb for the client, or he wants to do Airbnb, it can be 1 year property management agreement, can be 2 years. I usually try to at least commit them to 2 years. So that way you have time, and you know that you are secured in case if tenants would like to buy the property, you'll have the right to receive a commission, etc. So I will secure it for 2 years, 2022. Description. So real property, street address. We take the address from here. Legal description. So legal description can be found also on Property Appraiser. This is the legal description. First, personal property. So if it's Airbnb rental, you need to list all the inventory list. You need to have inventory list for the property. It can be in form of separate addendum or in form of inventory list. Over here, we can say that the property is furnished 4 twin beds, sofa, and kitchen table. Silver, all kitchen equipped. Kitchen equipped with all silverware, appliances, dishes. Then it depends what, I mean, if your client has some personal items, or it has, you know, something else, you need to list it here. Type of property. So type of property, single family home, warehouse. In this case, it's condominium. Occupancy. Property is, in this case, let's say it's vacant, it's not currently occupied by the tenant. If occupied, you need to list the lease end term over here. Then we go to broker obligations and authority. Broker will use due diligence to manage, operate, and lease the property in accordance with this agreement. Tenant matters, owner authorizes broker to check if applicable. Secure a tenant to the property, correct. Enter and see exclusive right to lease agreement. So this agreement goes along with this one. Enter into a lease contract to lease. And we have a training for this agreement, so you can watch it separately. Enter into a lease contract to lease on owner's behalf. So basically, you can sign on owner's behalf the agreements if they authorize it. If not, I mean, you can still send them for signatures. I prefer, if it's Airbnb, definitely you can apply, I mean, accept, decline the bookings. So better to enter that, so you'll have more freedom. So you can enter into lease contract to lease on owner's behalf. Complete and sign the lead-based paint hazard certification on owner's behalf. Property which were built before 1978. So here we can check when the property was built, and it was built in 1969. So we need to have that. authority to sign, led by Spain disclosures. Manage tenant relations, including negotiating renewals or of existing leases, collecting, holding, and disbursing rents and other amounts due or to become due to owner, etc. So yeah, this is we have to check, because especially if you're doing short-term rentals, you need to be a representative of the owner, and you need to be able to do everything with the property. Then property maintenance. Owner understands that Florida law requires licensed professionals in the construction trades to perform relevant repairs on rental properties unless the repairs can be made for under $1,000 and are not of a life safety concern. Additionally, owner understands that when the broker acts as the owner agent, Florida law provides the broker may contact the repairs, maintenance, remodeling, or improvement of the property with a certified or registered contractor when the labor and materials together do not exceed $5,000. Subject to these limitations set by law, owner authorizes broker to maintain and repair interior, exterior, and landscaping of the property, including making periodic inspections, purchasing supplies, and supervising alterations, modernization, and redecoration of the property. A broker will obtain prior approval of owner for any item of service in excess of. So let's say your owner is overseas, they on different time frame, and something breaks in the apartment. And if it's something small, I mean, in the lease, you usually have like $100, $150 repair are on the tenant, but in the short-term rental is a different story. It has to be fixed right away, because tenants are there, and especially not to receive negative reviews on your Airbnb property, it's better to fix everything quick. So here we can say, let's say if repairs under $1,000, a broker can go or you as an agent can go and request repairs from the licensed professionals. So except for monthly or recurring expenses and emergency repairs, which in broker opinion are necessary to prevent the property from becoming uninhabitable or damaged, to avoid suspension of services required to be provided by law or lease, or to avoid penalties or fines to be imposed by a government entity. So, I mean, this one definitely you have to go and repair something if there is a danger of fire, or if there is electrical problem. But for example, issue with the stove. So stove was not working. It's a good example in one of our properties. And it was under management for one of the clients, and the repair was about $900, and it's not like death-threatening situation or like a life-threatening situation, and but still, because it was $900 and the tenants were its Airbnb property, they need to have it fixed. We were able to get it fixed via the certified contractor who went and did the repair, and that way everybody is happy. The tenants, the owner get positive review on the property, and it's win-win for everybody. Then the next point is to a broker authorizes to enter into contracts on owner's behalf for utilities, public services, maintenance, repairs, and other services as broker deems advisable. This is also good to check, because sometimes there is a especially if owner is overseas, you need to connect after the property is being sold to the new owner, and you're doing property management. You need to change all the utilities, the FPL, electrical, to the new owner, and with that in place, you will be able to do that. Next point is you or owner can authorize you to hire, discharge, or supervise all labor and employees required for the operation and maintenance of the property, and to arrange for bonding for employees who will handle cash on behalf of owner and broker. This is more in case of the, let's say it's a multi-family property, and the owner is away, and you need to supervise. I mean, you will have the authority to supervise all workers who are working on the who are working in the in the management of the building. I mean, you can check it if it's basically, again, multi-family property less than 4 units, but in our case, I will not check that. Other matters, owner authorizes broker 2, make payments on our behalf, including. So let's say if there is a mortgage on the property, the broker or like broker agent can be authorized to make payments on the mortgage from the income which is going into the operating account. But I usually don't advise to do that. Like mortgage is something owner need to take care of, insurance as well, property taxes same. I mean, only in case if they are overseas, they don't have communication, and you have some arrangement with them that all the money from the rent goes into the brokerage account, and this can be done, and everything is deducted from the brokerage account. But the only thing is, let's say during pandemic we have shortage of leases, short-term leases, especially in Airbnb on in condominium buildings, and that way there's a shortage of rent, and some clients will need to pay from their own pocket for the mortgage, for the insurance, and property taxes, and also as condo association. So you don't, I mean, and if you have all that signed, checked, and you have set up the automatic payments, they will be charged from your account, and you can forget to cancel them, and that way I mean, you can go into negative balance with your client, and I mean, sometimes they will not pay you right away. So it can create some misunderstanding. So I would rather not check that at all. Then make payments on our behalf. I mean, charges for repairs, materials, equipment, labor, attorney fees, and costs. That's a good option to check. Then state and local sales and service taxes. This is also good check point to have, because to establish licenses for short-term rental, you will need to go into authorities and have register this property under the owner, and that checkbox will help you to do that. Maintain accurate records of receipts, expenses, and accruals to owner in connection with managing the property. Broker will render to owner itemized financial statements. Definitely, if you're doing property management, you need to provide your clients at least monthly, or it can be quarterly, depends how you want to do that. Usually it's on monthly basis. We provide statement to our clients on how much they earn from the leases, and what is the expenses during this month, and then the clients can see, the property owners can see the margin of what they made. Will promptly remit to owner the balance of receipts less disbursements and accruals of future expenses. Yes, that's correct. Other duties, you can list it in the addendum or have an entitlement here, but what can be in other duties? You can state that if the property is being sold, for example, you have the exclusive right to be compensated, but I believe we will have it down here too. Yep, for example, here compensation, so we'll come back to this point. Owner obligations. In consideration of the obligation of broker, owners agrees to cooperate with broker in carrying out the purpose of this agreement, to provide broker with the following keys to the property, specify number. So building access, mailbox, for example, pool, there is a pool, garage door opener, if any, and other if there's anything else. Then C, to provide complete and accurate information to the broker, including disclosing all known facts that materially affect the value of the property. See addendum, and it can be stated over here if there are any facts which are affecting the property. If the property was built in 1977 or earlier, owner will provide broker with all information owner knows about lead-based paint and lead-based paint hazards in the property, and will with all available documents pertaining to such paint and hazards as required by federal law. Owner understands that the law requires the provision of this information to broker and prospective tenants before the tenants become obligated to lease the property. Owner acknowledges that broker will rely on owner's representation regarding the property when dealing with prospective tenants. D. To carry at owner's sole expense public liability, property damage, and workers' compensation insurance adequate to protect the interests of owner and broker. Said insurance will name both broker and owner as insured parties and will specifically cover the indemnity and hold harmless provision of paragraph 4H. Broker will not be liable for any error or judgment or mistake of law or fact for any loss caused by broker's negligence, except when the loss is caused by broker's willful misconduct or gross negligence. Owner will carry insurance as follows. So here you can state what insurances the owner will carry. Perils of fire, lightning, wind, hail, explosion, smoke, riot, aircraft, vehicles, etc. The property in the amount of the property value, for example, property appraisal value. Second, at-risk protection of the building in the amount. I mean, this depends on the condominium. Here, I'm not sure, or you need to verify it with the association. I'll put NA. Some association already have an insurance which are included in the monthly payment, so it needs to be verified individually. And or rental income in the amount. Liability for personal injury and property damage in the amount of $500,000 minimum. So with Airbnb, the property liability is included and it's up to $1 million. But if you're not doing Airbnb or leasing it individually, you need to have separate insurance for sure. E. So owner obligations continuing this paragraph. So the owners are obligated to inform broker before conveying or leasing the property. Upon termination of this agreement, to assume obligations of all contracts that broker entered into owner's behalf. G. To pay all amounts billed by broker for authorized expenditures within usually 5 calendar days after written notice of the expenses placed in the mail by broker. If owners fails to promptly reimburse broker, owner authorizes broker to reimburse itself out of rents collected if applicable. H. To identify and hold harmless broker and broker's officers, directors, agents, and employees from all claims, demands, causes of action, costs, and expenses, including reasonable attorney fees at all levels, and from liability to any person to the extent based on, first, owner's misstatement, negligence action, inaction or failure to perform the obligations of this contract or any lease or agreement with the vendor. Second, the existence of undisclosed material facts about the property. Third, broker performance at owner's request of any task beyond the scope of services regulated by Chapter 475 Florida statutes, as amended, including broker's referral, recommendation, or retention of any vendor. 4. Services of products provided and expenses incurred by any vendor. This subparagraph will survive broker's performance and the transfer of title. To reasonably inspect the property before allowing the tenant to take possession and to make the repairs necessary to transfer a reasonably safe dwelling unit into the tenant, and owners are obligated to exercise the reasonable care to repair dangerous, defective conditions upon notice of their existence by the tenant after the tenant takes possession. Okay, so this is a very important part. This is owner's obligation, and some owners, they don't understand what they're obligated to do. So they definitely need to explain them that, because in foreign countries, internationally, it's different how they manage the properties. Compensation. Owner agrees to compensate broker as follows, plus any applicable taxes on broker's services. So first, for securing a tenant, addendum exclusive right to lease agreement. This agreement is in place when they secure a tenant. Usually it's 5% one side, and for long-term agreements. Second, for managing tenant relations, a fee of the gross lease value. So 20% if it's Airbnb, and or you can put the dollar value or each rent. Usually it's from gross. So if the Airbnb received $1,000, then you will be making $200. If the owner gets booking for $1,000, you getting $200 from the gross lease value. Then you can put some other, if you discuss something else or some different structure, it depends. The above fee is to be paid when and how. Usually it can be at the end of the month, at the end of each reporting period. So every month, if you state it here monthly, if you put quarterly, then it's quarterly. For managing the property, fee off. So here, same, it's a percent of the rent due if each rental period to be paid. So over here, it's the same. I mean, you manage the property and it will be the same value. And you will have, I mean, 20%, but they don't go above this 20%. They also stay, they just going in addition. I mean, not in addition, it's same value over here, but you're also managing the property and this fee is the same. So 20% in total. For supervising alterations, modernizations, redecorating or repairs above the beyond normal refurbishment of the property, a fee of either you charge per hour or you can say 10% of the repair value. Paid when how will be described in additional agreement. So if you're managing the reconstruction of the projects, you need to charge at least 10% of the total gross repair value. I will say gross. Okay. Other, if there is something else, you can input it here for the addendum. Then next point, next paragraph, dispute resolution. This agreement will be construed under Florida law. All disputes between broker and owner based on the agreement or its breach will be mediated under the rules of the American Arbitration Association or other mediator agreed upon by all parties. Mediation is a process in which all the parties attempt to resolve a dispute by submitting it to an impartial mediator who facilitates the resolution of the dispute, but who is not empowered to impose the settlement of the parties. So usually, yeah, can be either done through mediation or arbitration. Arbitration is more costly, and usually, I mean, it doesn't go into arbitration. Usually, it's all the dispute goes through mediation, but in case if it goes there, you need to have initials here, definitely, from owners and your initials and the broker's initials as well. Attorney fees. In any action between owner and tenant in which broker is made a party because of acting as an escrow agent under this agreement, or if broker interleads escrowed funds, broker will recover reasonable attorney fees and costs to be paid out of the escrowed funds and charged and awarded as a court cost in favor of the prevailing party. Miscellaneous. This agreement is binding on brokers, owner, heirs, personal representatives, administrators, successors, and assigns. Signatures, initials, documents referenced in this agreement, counterparts, and modifications communicated electronically or on paper will be acceptable for all purposes and will be binding. So additional clauses, you state them here, if any, and then date, owner signature, if owners, they all need to sign, and then authorized licensee will be you need to sign here. And each page has to be initialed by both, by the owner, by broker, and sales associate. So this is how the exclusive property management agreement looks like. Does anybody have any questions? Let's go through the questions so we can, I mean, maybe you didn't get some part or you want to get to know more about some aspects. So do we have any questions? No? No questions? Okay, I mean, I recorded, so I'll save this loop too, just in case. So the meeting was recorded and we will post it, and will be posted on our YouTube channel. So definitely it's good to refer to it if you're doing property management. And again, when you lease the property, it's a different story you don't necessarily need to do any property management without this agreement, because property management can I mean, it's cost more, it takes more of your time, and you definitely need to be compensated if you're managing the property. So normally, if it's a long-term leases, it's 10% of the gross lease value. If it's a short-term, it can be 20%. And how it's calculated, for example, if the if the lease amount is $2,000 a month, so at least for a year, let's say we one month went in towards the commission, and the rest is 22,000. So 10% from that 0.1, 2,200. So every month you get the 10% of the lease amount, but for that you manage all the aspects. You talk to tenants if something breaks, you scheduling the repairs, and some people solely doing property management, doing that as a business. And if you have 10, 15, 20 I mean, 15 is already a lot under management, you can rely on this income. And in Florida is very popular because many owners live overseas. You definitely can do property management for them. And my advice, like, don't do property management for free, because that many people falls into that, and it's not a good experience. But thank you so much for watching and for joining. Again, I'll post it on YouTube, and we will have another review of another agreement next week. Okay?